Why do you guys hate on the Pelicans? Why do big markets like you want to bully the little guy like me?
We're not hating on the Pelicans, man. And honestly,
no, you guys are definitely hating on the Pelicans.
No, I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't know. You left that comment on my Facebook post back in like 2010
oh my god,
I haven't forgot. You're a hater. No, you are definitely a hater. I was at my lowest moments. I was at my lowest. And I get a notification the flight mic has commented on your wall at the time. I'm thinking it's about to be some inspirational stuff. And he's flaunting the Chris Paul trade right in front of my face.
It was like ultimate karma when it got vetoed.
Do you turn it back on him, Coop? Please
it was,
tell me.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah. Oh, my. That backfired. That backfired. And Coop still remembers. That's hilarious.
I'll never forget.
He's never going to let this go, man.
What's up, guys? Welcome to the Laced Up Podcast.
Are we being trolled right now, Mike? What the fuck?
Can I walk off right now?
Put that on a poster. Whoa. No, now it's just an all-star game right now.
You're such a bully.
You don't deserve LeBron James, all right? It's insane.
And you deserve exactly what happened to Chicago over the past decade.
So how'd you and your ex-girlfriend break up?
Bro!
Kidding.
Was it because you were bad at basketball?
Yeah.
Yes!
From Zion, a trailer in the one-handed flush.
I will lie to you and smack you. Yo, what the hell?
I get called out for my fandom. I get called a schmuck.
Welcome, guys, to officially our new schedule. We are now currently posting 2 podcasts a week. That is double the amount of podcasts we have done in the past. We are going to be uploading on Tuesday and Thursday on YouTube at noon, but on iTunes and Spotify, we are going to be uploading 5 hours earlier. So make sure to go follow on iTunes and Spotify because we're going to be uploading at 7 a.m. Eastern there. If you want to listen to the podcast there first, that is where you will be able to. But in terms of today, Bowl. Okay, we have some interesting comments from Donatis Monajunas, who, if you guys don't know, going to this. By the way, hi guys, how you doing? Coop. But sorry, you guys have yet to talk. My bad. That's on me.
I mean, no, you're killing it, bro. Like you just
I was
okay. I'm sorry. Sometimes we just launch into normal YouTube mode where it's just us talking to the camera, and then I get lost. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm on a podcast, not just myself.
I just wanted to say to the our diehard YouTube audience that it's not that we like Spotify and iTunes way more, or I mean, it's not that we like Spotify and Apple Podcasts more. It's the fact that we don't need to post video there, so we could get it out to you guys quicker. So if you want to listen to the podcast ASAP the moment it comes out, the best way to do it would be Spotify and Apple Podcasts. But if you want to see our ugly faces roasting each other with video, it'll be up at noon. Tom, our editor, kills it with the YouTube game, with the edits all the time, but absolutely, the audio is just easier to get up at 7 a.m. So if you guys didn't know, recently Bowl, there's been a whole free Bowl campaign, and he was finally freed. Finally, Bowl was traded to the Detroit Pistons only after everyone was saying that he was medically okay, after his own team thought he was medically completely fine. The Detroit Pistons staff said that there were medical problems and the trade was voided, and there has been actually a lot of controversy around this. Okay, so Mike, you just covered this in your video. I think you know much more about it. So yeah, so we were all really freaking happy when the Denver Nuggets traded Bowl to the Detroit Pistons, but ironically, as a form of history repeating itself, once again, some kind of issue in Bowl's physical was what caused the trade to get voided. And now it's even more awkward because Bowl's going back to the Nuggets. He wore the number 10. The Nuggets clearly moved on. They gave James Ennis the number 10, which they signed to a hardship contract. So that's kind of awkward. I don't even know what Bowl's number is right now. If anyone knows, let me know. But ironically, about 6 years ago, the exact same situation happened with the same exact team, by the way, the Detroit Pistons, where Donatis Motiejūnas and Marcus Thornton were traded to the Detroit Pistons in a 3-team trade. 4 days later, the Pistons rescinded their trade following a failed physical by Motiejūnas.
Now, this is where it gets a little dark because, like, Motiejunas would go back to the Rockets lineup, and he received a 4-year, $37 million offer sheet from the Brooklyn Nets, which the Rockets would match. And afterwards, and I guess after you sign a contract, typically you show up for a physical. Motiejunas would not show up for his physical after signing that new contract. And ultimately, Motiejunas' camp made the decision to not report to the Rockets because they didn't agree on the amount that was being offered in terms of like nearly $6 million. And the Rockets only matched the principal terms of his offer sheet, which was $31 million and not $37 million. Really sketchy stuff. And afterwards, they would agree to a contract between $35 million and $37 million with incentives. And then Motiejunas would be sent home before a team game, despite, the agreement on a new contract after taking a physical. So once again, a physical was what ended up ruining his career. Afterwards, he would sign with the Pelicans.
All of that is crazy, but on top of so why this resonates so much is that Demo, as we'll refer to him, has recently said, how many times will the NPA let this happen? I was failed on physicals and told by Detroit Pistons doctors I will not play basketball again. 6 years later, I'm still here and have many years to go. They are destroying young players' names and futures in the NBA by doing this. So he is literally saying, hey, 6 years ago, these doctors told me I couldn't play. I lost $40 million around because of this, because they voided my contract. And here I am 6 years later. I've been playing basketball this entire time and I'm perfectly healthy. Who are these doctors to say that, basically? So that's what he feels like is happening to Bol Bol.
My initial reaction is, damn, this could mean that Bol Bol's career in the NBA could very well end soon. And I hope that's not the case. Of course, I don't think anyone wants that to be the case, because as raw as he is a unicorn of a basketball player. And I think that's why we were all excited when he initially got traded to the Detroit Pistons. He'd get traded to a team that had the same exact developmental timeline and that could invest time into potentially growing his talent. But after seeing what happened to Donatas Motiejunas, is this physical thing going to be a problem for Bol Bol, or is any team going to even attempt to trade for him? Bear in mind, it didn't take much to get him to begin with. I mean, the Nuggets did him a huge solid. They traded him for Rodney McGruder, who was pretty much a 30-year-old version of him in terms of production. Not in terms of skill, but in terms of how much he was producing. So that was just seen as a very classy move by the Nuggets, just to send Bol to a team that could potentially actually play him. But now, if he has an issue with physicals, could it just be the Pistons are a little bit more strict in terms of physicals? Maybe they saw something they didn't like. Bol Bol had a broken foot in Baylor. Maybe it has to do with that.
I don't really think they intentionally did him a solid. I just think that's what his value is right now. If he had more value, I definitely think they probably would have tried to trade him to the highest bidder. But, just the whole situation with him and the Denver Nuggets is just incredibly unfortunate, because like you said, you want Bol Bol to have that opportunity somewhere else. I'm not going to lie, I was a little surprised that the Detroit Pistons traded for Bol Bol, but I honestly love what the Detroit Pistons have been doing as of late. I mean, they've been taking swings on guys that haven't put it all together, like Hamidou Diallo. A few seasons ago, they went out and they got, however long ago, they went out and they got Christian Wood, and then they ended up bumping up his value and turning him into a first-round pick. So, I know the Pistons have got a lot of hate over the past couple of years or the past decade, but I actually think they're on the right track when it comes to, hey, we're going to buy guys low and we're going to sell high. Jeremy Grant's another great example of the Pistons turning a player into a much more valuable asset than that player already was. And in the NBA, I think that's just so valuable.
Yeah, absolutely. You make some really great points. So when we compare a team like the Detroit Pistons to teams like the Thunder and the Rockets, yeah, we really, monitoring how these teams are dealing with their young players, dealing with their young prospects, dealing with their young assets. You're right, definitely, Coop, in that they are, rising these guys. They're raising these guys' values, and Jeremy Grant is a giant hot name. Come this trade deadline, I'm sure that the Pistons are going to be able to get back a pretty good package for him. I love whenever I turn on the Pistons, I just feel like there's always like, you really see flashes from like a bunch of different guys. Like maybe one night you turn them on and you see Isaiah Stewart just absolutely beasting in the post, grabbing rebounds, scoring on people. Seen a lot of progression from Cade. Completely insane. Did you guys see him get thrown out of the game the other night? He got thrown out for his second technical foul because he pointed at someone after he dunked. When he had 21 points, was going head to head with Devin Booker, he had 21 points in the third, like 8 minutes left in the third quarter. It was crazy.
Also, guys, while you're here, this podcast, Laced Up, is also on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. It would be awesome if you could go check us out there, follow us there, and leave us a review.
Yeah, so guys, we are capping off the giveaway to the first 40,000 subscribers that turn on our notifications for the Laced Up podcast. All you have to do to enter for a chance to win a PlayStation 5 or an Xbox Series X is subscribe, hit that notification bell. If you want to do us a favor, leave a like on the pod and let me know in the comment section down below when it's done. You'll enter for a chance to win a PlayStation 5 or an Xbox Series X.
I don't understand referees sometimes. I don't know what they're doing with like throwing players out like that. But yeah, Detroit Pistons looking great. And I definitely agree with everything you said with building up players' values and then trading them. That's like the smartest thing you could possibly do. And we've seen, Christian Wood now is kind of like even become a question mark in the Houston Rockets. They traded him, they got what they can. And now it's like Christian Wood, what is his value with the Rockets? We've seen, which is the exact same scenario. They're both in a rebuilding scenario. Detroit has a very good culture right now, I would say. So, and also with the Pistons thing, it technically both Pistons doctors failed him. I don't know if it's the same medical staff though. It's been over like 6 years.
Yeah, and to add on to what Mike was talking about with Demo, so I'm not saying Demo's wrong, but when it comes to stuff like this, I think you always want to err on the side of caution, whether it be the NBA team, the player, when it comes to health, injuries, we don't know what's going on with Bol Bol right now. So, you just want to be safe. You just want to make sure everything is good. I remember, this is like completely off topic. I think the Saints had a guy like a few years ago that they traded for, and he was like a long snapper, and his career ended up being over because the Saints traded for him. But in the process of the Saints trading for him, like he would fail his physical, and they found out he had like a heart condition or something that could have ended up being fatal. So, it's like with these things, like it sucks, but hopefully like everything's all cool.
Agreed. And I've been looking, I haven't really found the full, information as to why the physical was failed. However, I will say that, when we take the example of Demo, right, that's like a $30 million contract. I feel like I wonder, because I'm not sure of this topic, but I wonder, are they more willing to pass a guy like Bol Bol, who's only, getting traded for like, a second round pick or whatever? Are they willing to, like with a guy like that, do they give more leniency, or is it just straight up like no matter if you're signing $100 million contract or you're traded for a second round pick, same exact criteria, you're failed no matter what? That's something that I wonder, because, if it is the case where they would give him more leniency, then yeah, the fact that there really is no commitment even really by the Pistons would make this even more concerning to me, I would think.
No, 100%, bro.
So I don't know if you guys heard, the Atlanta Hawks traded Cam Reddish to the New York Knicks for
nothing, essentially.
Whoa!
No, I'm joking.
Whoa!
I'm joking.
That's not nice.
I'm joking.
To be fair, a lot of Knicks fans were soured on Kevin Knox, but the exact trade is the Knicks sent Kevin Knox and a 2022 first-round pick via the Charlotte Hornets to the Hawks for Cam Reddish, Solomon Hill, and a 2025 second-round pick via Brooklyn. So, opening thoughts on this trade, guys. Who wants to go?
I like Kevin Knox. I hope he does.
You like Kevin Knox?
I mean, relatively speaking,
Coop, listen,
like he's not.
I'm gonna tell you right now, just as someone who lives in New Jersey, so like all Knicks fans are here. Like I'm telling you.
I know about how bad he is. Like I know.
Okay. I was just saying.
If you're 6'7" in the NBA, you got potential. You're 6'7", 6'8".
Yeah, if you work at it, that's the problem. You know.
No, I agree, but regardless, even if you don't work, you still have potential. 6'8" guys are at a premium in today's day and age.
You can go to college basketball right now. We can literally. I've been watching St. John's games, so there's 6'8" guys all over the place.
Okay, yeah, there definitely are, but that still doesn't change the fact that they're incredibly valuable in the NBA.
Kevin Knox is showing no promise. It's not even like Kevin Knox.
I'm not sitting here saying he's crazy. I'm saying like I like his profile. Like he's got the tools. If he puts it all together, that's another thing. I'm not saying he's gonna be nice. I never said that, Chris.
It's year 4, dog. It's year 4.
Let him prove his point. Let him make his point.
I never said he was gonna be nice.
I'm sorry. Even the slightest. I'm sorry. I will admit I'll admit that was a quick tilt.
That was like out of nowhere. I don't know what happened.
I'll admit it was a quick tilt, but it's just because like that's how down I am on Kevin Knox personally. So I'm sorry, but my bad. I'm sorry.
I think his like New Yorkness is like contagious.
Yeah.
It's like rubbing off on Korzemba.
It really is.
Kevin Knox. I hate Kevin Knox.
The Lakers literally just signed a 6'7" guy that I'm not even sure can shoot because he's an effort player.
He can't.
Okay, so he still doesn't have a jump shot. So 6'7", 6'8" guys are at premium in the NBA. Now if Knox becomes anything, that's another story.
I would argue that we know Kevin Knox can't shoot. I'd rather the random.
No, we weren't talking about Kevin Knox. I wasn't talking about Kevin Knox. I was talking about Stanley Johnson.
Stanley Johnson, Stanley Johnson and Kevin Knox have actually pretty good career parallels in terms of two small forwards who, not the best career so far.
Stanley Johnson.
You're forgetting I said they traded.
I'm sorry.
You're forgetting that I said they traded for nothing to start this whole thing, which makes the whole thing even crazier.
You're right. So, I'm changing. First of all, I'm sick. I've been on freaking. I'm literally currently hopped up on like 3 doses of NyQuil Theraflu. I'm sorry. I'm apologizing to you. I'm sorry. It was a quick. You know what? I'm taking the fault. It was a quick jump, but I do want to say, I only hope the best for Kevin Knox. I hope the best for him. But as, a guy who I support the Knicks still until they get too good and then the fans are going to be annoying and then I'll hate them. But I support them for now because a lot of my friends are there. That's their favorite team. And I will say, just in terms of going back to the trade, I feel like home run here. All right. I feel like personally, Cam Reddish, amazing, high school player. Up until that, since then though, when has he got a real opportunity to like show in New York? Hopefully this happens. It's still, he has RJ, of course, which is gonna be cool to see them, pair up Duke guys. But when is Cam? Cam is the third guy behind Zion and RJ, even in college. He comes in as the number 3 recruit in the nation, and somehow he's the 3rd recruit on his own team. That is unheard of course. Then he goes to the Atlanta Hawks, okay? And the Atlanta Hawks just so happen to have a plethora of promising young wings and wing talent in general. So that wasn't, exactly the ideal situation for him, but still put up good numbers. Still, did his thing. I think Cam Reddish has a lot of potential. I think end of the day, just always has had that potential to be a lights out scorer or shooter specifically. What do you guys think?
Cam Reddish? He's got a lot of talent. He's a nice player. I like a lot about him. Again, 6'8", 6'9", premium in the NBA. So I actually have this quote from The Athletics that says, "This is what Reddish has been awaiting. It was an open secret in Atlanta that he wanted to go elsewhere, according to sources, because there wasn't a path for him to become the player he thinks he can be, which meant the road to a lucrative contract extension for which he is eligible for after the season wasn't going to be there. Reddish availability also didn't help his chances." Reddish told The Athletic that he was looking to rediscover his old self, like you said, a reference to how he played in high school. So, just wanting to go back to your high school self is crazy, because I'm sure like most NBA players definitely want to be the guy that they were in high school. But, at some point, you have to realize like what's going to get you minutes, what's going to make you great. That being said, I actually think Cam Reddish is one of those guys, super high ceiling. I'm not really sure I love New York for him because, you got RJ Barrett. well, I mean, that's actually a plus, but you also have Julius Randle. You have a bunch of guys that need the ball, that want the ball. He's going to have his work cut out for him. But again, I love Cam Reddish. I think he's one of those guys with that really high ceiling that, if you could get him for what the Knicks got him for, you have to go out and do it. Did you guys see that the Lakers offered like 2 second-round picks for him?
I can't believe they didn't accept that. Like, I really am shocked that the Hawks didn't take 2 second-round picks. That was like a really good offer. Like,
whatever. Honestly, good for Cam. Good for Cam. You know what? We don't need any toxicity for Cam Reddish and the Lakers. Honestly, like,
are
that
you
must
kidding
be,
me? He's going to New York.
Like, no. New York. I think is a very different situation.
He's going to New York. Julius Randle just flicked off the fans or something. He just said shut up and watch the game.
I'm talking about like within the locker room. I just think the Lakers is like the most impossible situation to go to for a young player.
I don't know if New York has a good locker room.
I mean, look at.
I'm just saying. I think the Lakers.
It might be better than the Lakers.
I'm not saying that they have a good one, and I do agree with you that there are more chances. Like if Cam Reddish, for sure, if he wants to be a superstar, like if he wants to be that guy, like the high school guy that he's referring to, then yeah, I mean, right now the Knicks have RJ, Julius, and Fournier all playing, in wing positions. Randall, of course, more power forward.
Yeah, they still have Obi
and Fournier. Too. Yeah, and they have Obi. But the thing is, though, there is an opportunity because we saw Kemba Walker when they benched him and the whole thing. The guy taking his place was Alec Burks. Alec Burks is 30 years old right now. He's playing 28 minutes a game in 42 games. There is definitely an opportunity for Cam to come in and establish himself and take a role. And again, with the Lakers thing, I was just saying, I think just as a young player, I think that is the hardest locker room to come into, just because there's just the win exactly now this season mentality, combined with all of the veterans, combined with all the pressure that's already been happening with all the Russell Westbrook stuff. I just feel like I would never want to go to that locker room right now. It'd be very tough.
A lot of people, first on Coop's point about Cam Reddish trying to go back to his high school self, that's a very funny comment to me, and I don't mean this as like Cam Reddish hate, but like my first impression of Cam Reddish was when he was going to the draft was, this is a guy that's played on teams with a ton of talent his entire life. In high school, he was kind of a little bit more of a playmaker than he is in the NBA, which is something that also confused me. And then he got to the NBA, and he was kind of more of a scorer / spot up shooter. So him saying, I want to go back to what I was in high school is a little confusing to me. Nothing against him, because I also agree with Coop. I do think he has a high ceiling. I do think he's capable of becoming a very multi-dimensional player. But another thing that I wanted to point out is there's a lot of people hating on the Hawks for this trade. And if you're the Atlanta Hawks in this situation, you don't really have a choice but to make this trade.
Well, I mean, kind of. I guess it just depends on what the options really were.
What are the options? You let Cam Reddish walk for absolutely nothing?
No. I'm talking about what his value was trade wise. And I mean, also you could still try to develop him. I mean, I don't know if, there's a whole lot of room to grow in Atlanta, but at the end of the day, you drafted this guy in the lottery. I would be a little more reluctant to trade him, even if he did demand a trade. But, I guess things are definitely spiraling downward in Atlanta, and I got a lot of hate for calling Atlanta a team that overachieved last season. Right now, they're not even in the play-in. That's all I'm going to say.
Well, the owner also gave us a warning in the offseason. I think we talked about it here, where he came out and said, hey, we're going to do our best to retain everyone, but the chances of us being able to actually retain everyone is very slim. So this was kind of like a foreshadowing. I kind of felt like Cam Reddish was the first to go, and they do have an embarrassment of riches. They have Danilo Gallinari, they had Cam Reddish, DeAndre Hunter, Bogdan Bogdanovic, Clint Capella, Trae Young. This team's very deep. It's a blessing and a curse.
We had this discussion last season, and part of the discussion was that we talked about the Hawks re-signing John Collins and whether or not it would be the right move. I don't think John Collins is frustrated with his role. I don't think John Collins necessarily makes the Hawks that much better. He's having a very efficient season. He's doing what John Collins does. And I mean, the Hawks stand at 17-25. I wonder if they could go back. Would they still re-sign him? I'd probably imagine so. But, again, it's not good to have that frustration brewing in the locker room. It's not a good situation in Atlanta right now, at least in my opinion. I think I also saw Trey's frustrated too. It's tough, bro.
Coop, after Cam Reddish got traded to the New York Knicks, he's reuniting with RJ Barrett, his BFF from Kentucky. Do you think another member of that Kentucky Big Three is going to go there, Zion Williamson?
I'm going to keep it a stack with you. I honestly don't know, but I don't like the signs that are adding up right in front of my face. And I definitely don't like the fact that the New York Knicks were able to get Cam Reddish. The inner Pelicans fan in me is freaking out right now.
However, at the end of the day, what's going to happen here? Zion, he's going to become a restricted free agent. Is he really, with his health concerns, going to just opt out of that, financial security of staying in New Orleans? I mean, unless we get a Ben Simmons situation, but he's way too young for that. That would just set a horrible precedent for the NBA. So I think as a Pelicans fan, you should be completely fine. Personally, I just think that, Knicks fans love the situation. Don't give in to them. The Photoshops on Twitter, you gotta ignore them, Coop.
We are not fine, bro. People said the same thing in a completely different situation. People tried to brush off when Rich Paul signed Anthony Davis. And, I was one of those fans. I was sitting there and I was like, oh, no big deal. No, he's going to be back at the time. I was saying that at the time. And, of course, Anthony Davis ends up getting traded to Los Angeles. So, I've learned with these things, when there's smoke, there's typically going to be a fire. So if Zion stays, great. If he doesn't, great. The Pelicans are set up for the long term. They got a lot of good things going for them. I actually think if you traded Zion for another star player right now, the Pelicans would probably be a top 5 seed in the Western Conference. So as a Pelicans fan, I'm good. I think a lot of us have actually moved.
Yeah, I was going to say, it sounds like you have moved on, mentally and emotionally from this man.
I think that's how you got to be. I think that's how you got to approach the Zion Williamson situation.
Are you already?
To be completely honest with you. Put it like this, bro. I miss Anthony Davis. That's how tough the Zion Williamson era has been in New Orleans already. Anthony Davis gave us 100%, and he was relatively healthy very early on. I wish I could say the same for Zion. That being said, Zion, we're rooting for you, obviously. Come back and kill it, bro.
Bro, I feel so much empathy towards your pain. Mainly because over the past decade, I feel like Pelicans fans have gone through so much of it. A little bit over a decade, with Chris Paul being traded to the Clippers, and then you guys get a generational talent in Anthony Davis, and then Anthony Davis comes out, even despite you guys getting the number 1 overall pick, and it being Zion Williamson, he's like, nah, I don't care, I want to be traded anyways. And then now, you're seeing the number 2 overall pick, Ja Morant. His team is currently number 1 ranked in the entire NBA in power rankings.
So with AD, I didn't want the AD situation to become a Damian Lillard situation. It became there was a point where in the AD situation where it was just okay, it's time for something different. We're not winning crap with him. We've had talented teams. The Pelicans get a lot of hate for the AD era. Bro, we got Boogie. We had Drew Holiday. We had Julius Randle. We had benches. We had good teams. It just unfortunately didn't work out. And as we've seen so far in LA, AD has not been able to be a number 1.
True.
It's people just love to blame New Orleans. I don't know what New Orleans did to people. To add on to that, people have acted like the Pelicans have wronged Zion Williamson. I don't want to say this because it just sounds so bad, but honestly, it feels like the Zion Williamson pick has been a curse this far. Nothing but negativity has came to the franchise. He hasn't played a full season for us. I think he's played 70 games or something. So, and then, like you said, Mike, freaking Ja Morant. Imagine if we have the number 2 pick in that draft. We're just chilling.
End of the day, like Zion was the clear-cut number one choice. You know, there was no way that no team wasn't taking him. No one was taking Ja at that point. So yeah, what if? Sure, but you know, you're right with like, you know, you guys haven't seen Zion on the court as much. I don't know how anyone's blaming the Pelicans. I agree with you. It's like end of the day,
and we get all the hate.
Dude showed up way too heavy. Like end of the day, like he showed up way too heavy. And especially when you're working with that kind of, you know, I just recently posted a Ja Morant video, and you know, a lot of the comments were something I perfectly agree with, having seen it with Derrick Rose. Derrick Rose was landing so violently and so bad on his, you know, and it was like we were, Bulls fans at the time were afraid for Derrick Rose, and then it happened. You know, it wasn't like it was a huge shock for Bulls fans. It was like, oh, wow, yeah, okay, it happened. You know, so the same with Ja Morant, where a lot of the comments I saw were, I really hope the medical staff, you know, comes in and is, you know, working on his knees and making sure he's landing right and everything like that. So for Zion to come in so overweight when he is that kind of player where that is going to put such mileage on your body as a young player for your entire future, not just for the Pelicans, just for his own, you know, future. That is just, you know, you can't do that. And with the Pelicans, yeah, you're completely correct. Look back at the Chris Paul era. You know, you got the New Orleans Pelicans are not a big market. They do not have the luxury of being able to just, oh, we get Chris Paul and David West. That means automatically we get a third star. Boom. You know, if the Lakers get a young talent like Chris Paul, they are surrounding him for his entire career. The Pelicans, it's like, you got to win with what you have now, or someone's leaving for, you know, in their own eyes, greener pastures. So I agree. The only thing I will say is I think that with the AD era, I think that they tried to surround him with talent a bit too early, and maybe, you know, could have played for picks earlier. But, you know, they did. You're right. You know, they got Drew. They got Boogie. Unfortunately, Boogie got hurt. So, like, you know, what are you going to do with that? Like, we never got to see what happens when those two were really, just clicking and really just getting it together when Boogie went down. So we never got to see that out of AD. And now with Zion, they've got Ingram, they've got people. You know, I 100% disagree with what they did with Lonzo. I think they should have kept him, but
definitely should have kept Lonzo. Definitely.
But other than that, you know, yeah, I agree. You know, mostly like the Pelicans. It's not like the Pelicans are some poverty, like always making, you know, mistakes franchise. They have built together good teams in the recent history. Like, you know, the Sacramento Kings have not made the playoffs since 2006. Now that is like something that you could be like, oh my God, what is happening? Like, there are basketball fans alive right now that are what?
And they chilling. That makes me so mad.
There are 15-year-old basketball fans alive right now. Diehard fans that have never seen the Kings, have not been in the playoffs in their lifetimes.
And they're chilling, bro. Nobody, it's always Pelicans. It's always the Pelicans. Like, people always hate on the Pelicans. I don't know why.
De'Aaron Fox, let's get a free De'Aaron Fox movement going, you know?
Flight Mike, why do you guys hate on the Pelicans? Why do big markets like you want to bully the little guy like me?
We're not hating on the Pelicans, man. And honestly,
no, you guys are definitely hating on the Pelicans.
No, I don't know what you're talking about.
Mike, maybe instead of, you know, taking it as like officially you, he means like a large fan base such as the Lakers.
Yeah, I didn't mean like you specifically. I don't know. You left that comment on my Facebook post back in like 2010
my God.
I haven't forgot. You're a hater. No, you are definitely a hater. I was at my lowest moments. I was at my lowest, and I get a notification. The Flight Mike has commented on your wall at the time. I'm thinking it's about to be some inspirational stuff, and he's flaunting the Chris Paul trade right in front of my face. Man.
Oh my God!
This was my boy.
The Chris Paul trade. That was for the Clippers. That was
no. This is when he got traded to the Lakers. So,
OG wood.
So like it was like ultimate karma when it got vetoed.
Did you turn it back on him, Coop? Please
tell
me.
Oh hell yeah!
Yeah. Oh my. That backfired. And Coop still remembers. That's hilarious.
I'll never forget.
He's never gonna let this go, man.
That one's lasting. That's hilarious.
Yeah, it's so. To be honest, I don't think it's the fact that we're hating on you guys. I don't think Laker fans have time to hate anyone else this year other than their own team, if I'm being honest. Like, it's crazy. Every time I log into Twitter or my timeline, there's always like these tweets about how LeBron James deleted that one tweet in regards to his own team, or how Russell Westbrook is like so content with turning the ball over or missing shots, and how horrible he's been recently. I don't think we have the time or the energy to hate any other team, especially small market teams. That there's a lot of small market teams that are outperforming us, by the way, than to hate our own team currently. It's not fun being a Laker fan currently at all.
Yeah, so you guys are definitely down bad right now.
Somehow brings it
LeBron's
back to
been
the
wild.
Lakers. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
I think
for real.
I think we brought it to the Lakers. I think it wasn't him. It was definitely
you
not
guys,
him.
man. You guys are like obsessed with this team, bro. I don't bring it up at all. It's like this podcast is just to go.
Nah, I was just gonna say I will respectfully disagree. I still feel the hate right now. I could tell you got some mean Pelican stuff sitting in your head. You know, the way you tried to say that Zion Williamson's going to leave us. You know, I don't know, Mike. You've really offended me in the past. But
do you think he's not going to leave you guys? I mean, I think at this point Zion needs you guys more than you need Zion, if I'm being honest.
I can't wait till we get the Zion Lonzo comeback story with Chicago.
Bro, that's the thing that
the
makes
reunion.
No, you stop.
Reunion.
We need to, can
Chicago
we mute him?
Bulls.
We need like a soundboard, bro.
We get prime Zion and prime
Bro,
Lonzo.
you gotta focus on the Bulls right now. Your season is unraveling right before your eyes.
What are you talking about?
Bro.
Freaking, we had literally all our players are out with COVID, and Zach went down 4 minutes into the Nets game.
In the last
Warriors game
15,
with an
your
injury.
net rating has been so much worse than it was to start the season. I don't think you can argue.
We are.
I understand. I understand that, but good teams, they get through that, bro. And I'm not saying y'all aren't, but
good
I
teams
mean,
get through that. Literally, go through every single good team in the NBA this year, and when they get hit by a COVID thing, there's going to be more losses.
No, the Miami Heat have been cooking regardless of who they have.
I'm sure there's a time where they have lost games because of COVID.
Bro, they like Jimmy Butler and Bam have been out.
Listen, let's be honest with the Warriors thing. All right, when Zach LaVine goes down with a knee injury with no contact, like literally he like was just dribbling the ball, like he was in the lane and like no one touched him, like probably pretty demoralizing for the entire team that now is worried that Zach is going to be out for the entire season and ruin their chances at everything. So I'll brush that one off. Honestly, I'm waiting, for the future. But, if this sustains like this, 100% you're correct. I'm just saying, some freak things have been happening here. Like there's a reason Ayo Sumo is, just put up the first 20 and 10, 20.10 assists on 90% field goal percent shooting, which is one of those, ridiculous stats. But anyway, the first ever by an NBA rookie in history, because he's getting much, much, much more of a chance than he normally would because the roster is just, COVID stuff.
Yeah, I don't know. Hopefully you guys start playing better. Like I said, it would definitely at least worry me a little bit considering you guys are 1, 2, 3. You're 1-4 in your last 5. So yeah, it would concern me, COVID or not, but especially with how bad some of these losses have been.
Okay, starting for the Chicago Bulls against the Celtics, where we lose by 2 points. Ayo, Kobe
The
White,
Celtics suck.
Vucevic,
The Celtics are so bad.
DeRozan. Listen, but you're just talking over me and not listening to the people that played in this game. Ayo, Kobe White, Vucevic, DeRozan, Alfonso McKinney starters, and then Troy Brown Jr., Tony Bradley, Matt Thomas, and Malcolm Hill were our bench. Like that, huh?
Yeah, bro. Every team goes through that though.
They had Tatum. They had Tatum, Robert Williams, and Jaylen Brown. Yeah, every team does go through that, and most of the time you lose when your guys are out and the other team's guys aren't. It's just it just happens right now this season.
I don't know. I definitely think they had enough talent to win that game. They just ended up losing it.
Bro, we're starting literally. Okay, I mean, this is just an argument we'll never get to the bottom of. If we're starting,
that's a good point.
We're starting our 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th men. Alfonso McKinney is starting. He literally he's not even supposed to be in the rotation. We signed him.
I don't know, man. I think good teams get through that though. I mean, like the
good teams, we don't have any continuity with our roster. Like it's not even like, okay, like we have like,
have you seen what Jokic has been playing with?
Yeah.
Have you seen what Jokic has been playing with?
Yeah, I agree. Jokic is a way better player than anyone on the Bulls. He's MVP, insane talent. There's an argument
They're
that
so bad when he's out the game. It's crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. There's an argument that Nikola Jokic is the most skilled basketball player alive right now, of course. Like, he doesn't have any of the physical gifts, but yet produces at a level higher than anyone at his position. So, I mean, Jokic is a different breed. Final topic I want to talk about today, and Coop, I think you want to talk about this too, is the Dallas Mavericks, because the Dallas Mavericks have been involved in a lot of trade scenarios lately, and they also have been playing well lately. Luka notably has missed actually a good chunk of this season, more than I think some people might realize. So where do you think Dallas stands right now? They are 5th in the Western Conference with Luka missing that time, and they have been attached to names such as, like Christian Wood, those centers. I wonder if they're able to bring someone in. Do you think that would be, highly beneficial for the future going forward?
I don't know. The Mavericks are in a really weird spot to me where I'm not sure there is a significant roster move that instantly just makes them like, oh, we got to beat the Dallas Mavericks. That being said, they've been playing incredibly well. I don't want to jinx it. They've been playing a lot better as of late, and I'm actually surprised considering that Kidd is their coach. But yeah, they have a lot of tough decisions to make this offseason. I know Jalen Brunson's going to be looking for a big contract. The flexibility may not be there for them. What's up?
He's looking for a 4-year, $80 million contract, reportedly.
Yeah, so he becomes a tricky guy.
Especially like you have Luka where you're running him at the point. Yeah,
I say a trade that it says so according to my data, it says that the Indiana Pacers are looking for 2 first-round picks for Miles Turner. Indiana is also asking for 1 first-round pick for and a young player for Karis LeVert. Personally, Jalen Brunson, absolute stud, absolute baller. Not enough to the point where I'd want to pay him $20 million a year, though. Yeah, so I would be looking to trade Jalen Brunson, maybe package that with a pick, maybe get myself either Turner or LeVert. Probably more Turner. I do think that could definitely improve the Mavericks decently. Gives them another player that could play defense, could stretch the floor a little bit. In addition to Kristaps Porzingis, I feel like they could probably work well together. I honestly just also credit to Jason Kidd. I know a lot of us were kind of memeing the signing of Jason Kidd as a head coach, but I think he really unlocked the potential of the Kristaps Porzingis Luka Doncic pairing, which was horrible last year. Like, if you remember, everyone was just saying how terrible they were last year. So credit to them for that. They do have assets. They do have tradable players as well. So I think the top guy they should go for is Miles Turner. If they want to get really crazy, they could trade Luka Doncic to the Lakers for Russell Westbrook.
All right, well, let's just cut that off. All right, so Dallas Mavericks. All right, looking at the Dallas Mavericks, Coop, we talked about before with team building strategy, building guys up, getting more value back for them. I feel like in terms of the Dallas Mavericks right now, if you have a chance to go and get a guy like a Christian Wood or a Miles Turner that you do believe is going to bring a net positive to your team going forward, even if they don't end up being on the team, overall, like, I don't think the goal right now with Dallas is to win a championship. I think the goal is you make moves right now this season that set you up long-term for the future to maybe make a move for a giant star, or to, make a bigger move, or just, slowly over time, your roster is just getting bigger, better and better for Luka. So I think that if they do have the opportunity to go out and, assemble a package around picks for a big man, I think that's best case scenario, because then you don't have to give up, the guys on your roster, which Jalen Brunson, 4 years, $80 million is a scary total, because we saw this year with point guards.
I don't think it's that bad. I think if Lonzo is worth 25 or however much, it's a fine contract.
I don't think it's bad. I was just saying, maybe
on the open market, he might be worth less, maybe because like of just we saw with Schroeder and we saw with other guys, but I think the point guard market this year is actually less than it was last year. And also though, I'm just fully in favor of keeping him though, because end of the day you keep him, that works in your favor salary cap wise. You keep your own talent and you keep Jalen Brunson as a guy. Okay, yeah, maybe if him and Luka are stepping on toes a little bit, you could move. I think that's a very movable contract, 4 years, $80 million.
The thing with Brunson is you kind of have to keep him. I don't think the Mavericks are in a position to be losing talent. On top of that, just like you said, they got to look towards the future. I mean, the Mavericks are just in this tough spot. I mean, they're 5th in the Western Conference, and their season could really go either way. If the Mavericks stayed put, maybe moved up to 4, I'm not sure anybody would be that shocked. If they drop down to 8 same time, I'm not sure anybody would be shocked. While we're here talking about the Mavericks retaining talent, you didn't bring up that this past offseason, the Mavericks signed Tim Hardaway Jr. to what was a pretty big contract. And right now, at least, I would say that contract has kind of backfired on the Mavericks. And I'm really not sure Tim Hardaway Jr. has much value, if any at all. If I was a contender, he definitely would not be a player that I would be looking to add to my roster.
Yeah, you definitely never like to see the drop off in stats following a big contract. It is always a red flag, no matter what. And you're definitely right with Tim Hardaway Jr. Just quick, look at base numbers. We see Tim Hardaway Jr. last year, 16.6 a game on 45% shooting. This year, 14.6 a game on 39% shooting. So like, don't even really need to dig too deep. Yeah, there's a drop off, and now that contract, maybe he wouldn't have gotten it. Jalen Brunson is a younger player though, so by like a few years, by like 3 to 4. So again, yeah, I mean it's always tough with these kind of things. You're right, where it's just like you feel like and maybe just have to keep them because you have to keep talent on your roster. You can't just let it go away for free, Like it's at the end of the day, like it works both ways though, unfortunately. Sometimes like with a Lonzo deal, Lonzo, okay, ends up, his trade value possibly is increased or, or like James Harden, James Harden goes and boom, blows up. But then sometimes, that big contract ends up, biting you in the ass.
I actually do want to say this though, because you're really passionate about the Bulls thing. The reason that I said what I said about the Bulls was because as of January 14th, over their last 15 games, they have the number 21 defense. If you think that's strictly COVID related and you think that's not a cause for worry,
Coop, you're not taking into account that like 2 of those games are like literally 40 or 50 point blowouts. So like when you lose by 40 points and you take a 15 game sample size, that's not enough. Like that 2 40 point blowouts in 15 games is enough to be enough to skew the stats. That is my point.
Yeah, I guess you have a point there. But still, I mean, before that, they were allowed. I mean, there's a lot. I mean, 118, 117, 106.
Listen, I'm with you. I don't want to watch my team lose by. I don't want to watch my team get freaking blown out by 40.
Their defense has been. These are all high scoring games. Like,
yeah, listen, but
you could take out the 100. You could take out the massive blowouts.
The Bulls are 1-4 in their last 5, right? And then before that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 wins in a row. Okay,
yeah,
so like
they definitely won those games.
We just so happen to be talking at the time that they're 1-4. Like throughout the NBA season, this stuff just happens. Like if it's a longer term,
no, for sure. But
I'm with you. It's something to monitor. You're right. It's something to monitor.
Definitely been worse. I mean, yeah. Like you said, remove the 40 point blowouts. They're still allowing like 110, 115 per game.
Yeah. Okay.
That's not ideal. That's not ideal.
I 100% agree with you there.
And that's me talking about wins. That's like, yeah, wins are important, but I don't think wins are necessarily like, oh yeah, they won, and oh yeah, it's convenient that they've been losing. But with trends and things that are happening, it's not always about the finished product. It's about the process, what's going into those wins. If the Pelicans are like winning games, but like, it's like luck, or like, we're allowing a massive amount of points, or those, like, I don't think all wins are created equal. I guess put it like that.
No, I agree. And I agree. Let's talk next pod on this, but I agree. I think that the Bulls should seriously look into moving Kobe White for a big man. If we can get the right fit on a trade for a, more a defensive, more, guy that can help us right now, because we do have tons of guards that can score, but we really are, not as great on the defensive end for sure. That was a big thing coming into this season. A lot of people were like, if the Bulls can just have the 15th best defense in the league, then they are going to be successful because their offense is where they're going to win games. So you're right. The Bulls started out great defensively, surprisingly good defensively in the beginning of the year. Hopefully, it is something to monitor.
I know you're a Bulls fan. I wouldn't even call it like that surprising. I know we're kind of dragging the pot. I wouldn't call it that surprising because I know they had a lot of injuries.
It was surprising compared to where they projected. Yeah, they're like, when I say surprising, I always mean like what the national media was saying, not myself.
Okay.
Like what the national media was said was that like they were surprised, and I'm hoping that you're right, monitor it, because we're hopefully that does not mean you're going back towards the mean of what you should have been and you just had a hot start defensively.
Yeah, for sure. That was a kind of light part of their schedule too, so it'll be interesting to see what our Chicago Bulls end up cooking up.
Our Chicago Bulls. I'm with it. Yeah, Chicago Bulls.
Our Chicago Bulls.
The team of the podcast. Let's just have one year of the Bulls, and then 1 year of the Bulls. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. But if you guys, team of the podcast is St. John's basketball. Honestly, that's all. If you guys just rep the Johnnies. I'll rep UCLA on the opposite coast. That's opposite coast. College basketball's fine. We never see each other. All right, guys. Appreciate you. Hope you subscribe. Try and post notifications.
Catch us on Spotify 5 hours earlier. And
Apple as well. And Apple if you
catch us on Apple. Catch us on Spotify and Apple. Yeah, I use Spotify. Right, later, guys.
I listen to our own pod notes. All right, later, guys.
If you're still here while the music is cued, here are 2 videos I think you are definitely going to enjoy. Make sure to click on one of them. Again, I know you're going to love it. And other than that, have a great day and peace.